In August of 2024, we bought a 255 unit apartment complex in Farmers Branch, Texas. We paid $28 million for it. We put in $2.47 million of capital improvements, and in the first year, we increased the property's value by about $5.83 million, and we beat our distribution projections by almost 20 grand. And today, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what we did and what the numbers actually look like. So when we found this asset, you guys, the opportunity we saw was the deferred maintenance. Property wasn't being taken care of. The asset management team wasn't doing a great job leading the property management company, and we could see inefficiencies in their numbers. And those are the types of deals that if you can see the future, and I'm going to tell you how we saw the future here, you're able to come in and do exactly what we did here. Again, 28 million. What made us pull the trigger is that we know this submarket. We know this asset class. We could see a rinse and repeat value add strategy that we've done on many of our assets. And we could see that the management company was not producing the results that this property was capable of. So what we did is we came in with our $2.47 million of capital improvement. And the way we spent that money was we put 11 grand per unit on 166 units into the interior upgrades. And so for interior upgrades, we knew what to do because we secretly shopped the competitors, right? You walk through and you take a look at what the competitors are doing, you see what their units are like, you see what their amenities are like, you can see what they're charging for rent because they think they're going to lease the property out to you. Now, that's not me walking through the property, that's someone on our team. But that data becomes invaluable because that's real time of what the market is able to support today. And if you shop physically 3, 4, 5 of these comps, you start to get a pretty good feel of what the unit mix is like, what the upgrades are like per these units, what the amenities are like, and how the staff performs. And you can start to see what is needed in order to compete or be the best in that submarket. And that's how you really go out and build your plan, right? So that data is what we use to decide what we're going to do. And that's how we figured out, hey, if we put in 11 grand to these 166 units, we can bump rents by $200 because the competitors already were doing it. In our 1-bed, 1-bath, it was 84 units that we put 6 grand into. Plumbing wise, there was some challenges. And we can see it in the utility statements. We verify it during due diligence. Hey, if we take care of those plumbing challenges, we're going to reduce our utility expense by X. We brought in 250 grand to resolve all of the plumbing challenges on the property. And that is part of how we drove net operating income. Because again, the way you're going to increase value in apartments is by either increasing income or controlling or reducing expenses to drive NOI. And if you can drive net operating income by $1 divided by a 5 cap is $20 of value on the exit, which is how you're going to force appreciation. So the business plan you're going to put together is based on real-time data in the submarket, right? And once you get that real-time data, you're going to put it into your spreadsheet and you're going to be able to project 5, 7, 10 years out what your exit value will be. Now, of course, there's still risk here, right? You still have the risk of interest rates, where they go up or down. That does affect cap rates. You've got the risk of black swan events of, are we going to go to war? You've got the risk of new builds coming on because you can only see so far out of how many new builds are coming. But with conservative underwriting and with experience based off of the data that you can access, you can get pretty dang close on what's likely going to happen in that submarket. And so you come into the property within 90 to 120 days, you're going to implement 80 to 90% of your CapEx spend. Yeah, you're not going to be able to turn all the units, but you're going to paint your exterior, you're going to get your plumbing done, you're going to get your landscaping done, you're going to put in new washer and dryers. That was one of our value add strategies as well. We put in new laundry machines into every laundry room and spruced it up. Now, instead of the residents going down the street to go and do their laundry, they just walk right over to our laundromat on site. Use brand new machines, make it an inviting space, throw a TV in there. And now our residents, instead of going away, they're going to do laundry on site, which is going to give us other income that all drives value. Those are some of the main ways we invested capital in order to drive net operating income here. If you're sitting there making good money, whether that's W-2, business income, whatever, and you feel like you should be further ahead than you are, it's probably not an income problem. It's a structure problem. I put together a free blueprint that breaks down exactly what I mean by that, and it covers the 3 tax buckets, why most real estate actually fails as a tax strategy, and the capital framework I personally use to evaluate where money should go as income grows, and it's completely free. Links down below. If you look at some of the before and after photos, you can see the exterior went from a pretty rough looking asset to being completely transformed. And so on the outside, we're going to do landscaping, and we're going to do cost effective landscaping in a place like Dallas, because realistically, we don't want to be watering the grass. That just costs a lot of money. And what are the chances your sprinklers are going to have challenges and all of a sudden you got to repair the sprinklers? So anything you can do with landscaping to be drought tolerant, which is what we specialize in putting in, is make it nice and drought tolerant. It allows you to do far less maintenance, which is just for future cost, repairs, all that, which is going to drive value down. And so the before and after of the exterior is huge. It's going to drastically change the type of clientele or residents that walk through the front door. Another place we put a lot of capital in every time we take over is a leasing office. And there's two reasons for the leasing office. Number one, it's the first impression a resident's going to get on deciding if they think you take care of the asset and you make it a nice place. And number two, you're going to attract a much higher quality leasing agent. Think about it. You're a leasing agent and you go work down the street in a dilapidated office, or you can work in an upgraded office that's beautiful, bright, and taken care of. Which one are you going to choose? And so you as the owner are going to have the cherry pick of some of the best leasing agents in that submarket. Heck, they may even want to come over, and it's not uncommon to steal some of these leasing agents and make offers. And it's happened to us, and we have done it to others. It's just part of the industry. And so that's where a lot of capital is put right out of the gate, is your leasing office in common areas, because those are really a lot of the reasons folks are going to lease for the higher rent. And it does have a large impact on your rent and ability to retain these residents, because once you get these great residents in, now it's your maintenance staff. So this is where management comes into play. You got to have management that takes care of your residents in order to have less turnover. Turnover kills you in this business, right? Every time a unit comes vacant, you got to go and turn it. That takes time. That takes money. Whereas if you can get a rent bump and not turn a unit, you naturally have a higher net operating income. And you just got to keep in mind, you guys, when you take over on an asset like this, if you're clear on your CapEx plan, everything should be ready to go before you close. So the day you close, you've got your vendors on site, you hit the ground running, and your renovation should really be wrapping up within 90 to 120 days. Now, that doesn't mean you've got every unit turned. I'm not saying that, but the exterior work, depending on the time of the year, depending on where your location is, the paint on the exterior, the parking lot work, the landscaping work, all of that should be pre-planned and pretty much wrapped up within 120, worst case, 180 days of takeover. So the result of that is you got income up on this property by 3.6% since takeover, and that's from rent bumps, that's from reducing vacancy, that's from some new revenue streams. And, NOI, it went from 1.83 million to 2.18 million, which is almost a 20% increase. And so the question would be, well, how did you get a 20% increase if income only went up 3.6%? And the reality is there was a very inefficient property management company. Expenses were far beyond what they needed to be. And so when you do a combination, as you can see, drive income, control or reduce expenses, that can all have an effect and impact on your net operating income. And that's how you end up growing the value of this. And again, the property value, it increased by $5.83 million since we took over. And we calculate that purely by taking your new NOI and dividing it by a 6 cap, because this deal, year built, location, 1 mile median income, is a 6 cap deal based on where the market is today. And if we get some luck, right, we bought this deal late 2024, ideally that by 2028 or 2029, if we get some interest rate pullback, we might get some cap rate compression. Now that's just pure icing on the cake. So another thing here, you guys, that's important is every time you do a deal, you're going to project cash flow to your investors, right? That's one of the main attractions to real estate investing is passive income. And so we projected 416,000 of distributions in 2025, and we actually distributed 436,000. And what does that mean? For investors, when we beat projections, is it just means there's confidence. It means that, hey, if we've increased the distributions by over 20K compared to what we projected, it tells us our value is good, because we wouldn't have extra cash flow if there wasn't extra NOI. And so that tells you two things. NOI has gone up, cash flow's gone up. Just means the property's in a very healthy state. You got fixed debt, low leverage. You're in a seasoned period now with this asset. And what I mean with seasoned is it's stable. We've done the value add strategy. We've got the majority of our big rent bumps. Now we're going to sit and we're going to wait and let the market do what it should do, which with time, appreciation and the destruction of the dollar comes into play here. And inflation is what really helps drive value here. In the bigger picture, you guys, here for me is just to talk about Pasadena being in Farmers Branch. And this submarket is strong for multifamily. And the way we know it's strong is because as we're developing our business plan before we close, we are shopping these comps and we're asking these people straight up and getting the data on what their occupancy is. We're getting clear on what their rent is. We're getting clear on what CoStar and HeyGen and all these other sites are telling us how many new builds are coming, like what's the new competition. And so we can put together pretty quickly based off of location, based off of school ratings, based off of 1 mile median income, based off of submarket occupancy, new builds. If that submarket is strong and the next 3 to 5 years are strong, and once you get the value add strategy done, the plan from here is that this property over the next 2, 3, 4 years seasons, stabilizes, continues to get 3 to 5% rent increases. And so for some of you that are watching this and you're thinking about investing with Granite Towers, what does this case study prove about your approach? For someone who's watching, who's thinking about investing with Granite Towers, tune in, get into our database, start watching these deals come through the pipeline. You're going to start to see very similar structures, very similar rinse and repeat value add strategies. And these are ways to create cash flow, hedge inflation, and get depreciation. I'll see you on the next one.